Okay, so doing this video because I made the sorry about that. I said the last time when they hit Jinx with the 5.8 and 5.10 nerfs that whenever they did another change to her, I would make a video about it. I just keep that stuff up to date. So they did, technically, it wasn't really like a nerf and stuff, but it did change her like every AD carry in 5.22. And I'm a little late making this video because I'm not gonna lie, it took me a second to figure out what exactly was and was not changed. So now that I think I understand exactly what not only the changes are, but the reasonings why, now it's time to make the video. I'm actually gonna wait to load in the game here because I kind of need the tooltip to show, or just to show the tooltip, but generally what they're doing for 6 main AD carries, but every AD carry, and I guess eventually every champion period, is give them more of an identity. And what that means is what makes them separate from other champions in that position, more than just, okay, everybody else has been nerfed and they're what's strong right now, so we're just going to play them, right? They're kind of trying to do this idea about making a reason why you pick certain champions in certain comps. Kind of like how right now you pick Sivir, for example, because you want kind of like a speed up hard engage comp. And even though that's not necessarily possible for every single champion in the game, it is possible maybe to differentiate some of them from others. And kind of like how Lucian, Graves, and Corki were in Spring Split of 2015, and both the EU and NA LCS, they were pretty much picked based on who was the strongest, instead of, okay, we need what Graves does in this comp, we need what Corki does in this comp, we need what Lucian does in this comp. So with Jinx, for example, though, they didn't change her too much. She wasn't one of the 6 that got like a lot of changes, but she did get some changes. And to start, for example, the tooltip here, whenever a champion, tower inhibitor that Jinx is still damage to within like the last 3 seconds is killed or destroyed, she gains 175 decaying movement speed and 15% total attack speed for 6 seconds now. So they buffed that. It used to be 4 seconds, now it's 6 seconds. And with the attack speed, the extra 15%, extra procs will get her more excited, and I will stack the attack speed. And it says in the tooltip right here, like to a bajillion. Like, if for some reason you were ever playing a game mode where you could just keep like killing people over and over with her, your attack speed would pretty much stack into infinity. But that's not, you probably might get like, the best you might get is like a pentakill and then take a couple towers, win the game, right? You're probably not actually gonna ever get stacked to a bajillion. So I'm terrible at last hitting while I'm trying to explain this, but anyway, what they also did though was they made the Fishbones, the rocket launcher, shoot 15% slower attack speed. Now I play with a 41% attack speed rune page, so I have faster attack speed than what would normally be shown, but it's still 15% slower than the minigun. Like if I go stack, whether I stack it or not, if I just go in on Wukong right now and I switch back to Fishbones, that's the new thing now, is he's gonna shoot slower than he used to. So, and the reason for this, I guess thematically, out of her 2 main weapons in Switcheroo, the minigun and the rocket launcher, you would probably expect the minigun to be shooting faster and the rocket launcher to be pretty slow, right? Or at least slower than the minigun. So that kind of makes sense. On top of that, a lot of people that complain about her crit strikes and all that stuff. Well, those come from the rockets. If the rockets shoot slower, less of them to hit you with, and less, of course, she's getting excited, which that's fine, because that's the thematic thing with her that they're going for, right? It does make me a little bit curious, because originally, that was the whole gimmick for... No, I'm not going to be able to kill him, okay. That was the whole gimmick, though, back in 5.8, was she wrecked towers a bit too fast in the mid-game, so they made the minigun shoot slower. So I'm not going to lie and say I'm not a little bit curious, or maybe even conflicted, of what exact direction they're going there. But the idea is for her to have to rely a bit more on the team and grouping to get excited too. Like they don't want her to be able to get that first kill by herself. and just take the game over by herself. The snowball is fine after she gets excited, but getting that first kill, they want it to be more reliant on using your team, because she's a team fighting AD carry, right? That's why she has the AoE, that's why the chomper snare, like 3 people. You want to group and you want to fight people grouped, but you don't want to be able to take it over by yourself from the start. Once you start getting rolling, then yes, you should be able to take it over, and that's the idea with the stacking attack speed of the minigun now. They want you to be able to do stuff like wreck people and towers, which is what she's best at. So, one second. I'm trying to see if I can bait him and then get the choppers behind him and kill him. I guess not. Okay, so anyway, like I said, I'm not really good at playing while also talking like this, so this ain't good gameplay footage. I just didn't want to just be standing somewhere like the whole time or something, you know? But anyway, so those are really the only real changes to her. They did do some base stat changes to Jinx, but they did that to every AD carry. Like every AD carry in what's called the AD carry patch pretty much got some changes of some sort, and the other changes include those base stat changes. And what that means is every AD carry starts with a certain amount of, you know, attack damage to start the game off, right? And then it grows over time. Now, if you build no items, most AD carries still hit like around 105, between 105 and 110 attack damage, right? And usually you build items, so of course that's not where you're going to stay at. But without items, that's how that works. Between the starting attack damage and the growth, right? So here, though, what they did with her and most everybody else is they increased the starting attack damage at level 1. So I believe Jinx's old starting attack damage was like 50, it might have been like 55, 54, maybe 53, I'm not exactly sure. But what they decided to do, see if I can get excited real quick here. Okay, so right now I have increased attack speed, and if for some reason I could keep killing people, it'd be increased even more. See, decay is back too. Like for a second it was at 150, it's back down to 133. Again, I play with a rune page, so it's actually not even that much. Like it's that much because I made it that much because I built this rune page, which doesn't give me much else in terms of advantages though, but it does give me, you know, attack speed for dueling and stuff. Anyway, the point I was going to make was, so what they did with her and most AD carries was they gave them all an increase in starting attack damage, but in return they pretty much nerfed the growth. So with Jinx, for example, she used to hit about 109 attack damage without items by level 18. Now she only hits 101, so you lost about 8 attack damage between the growth. But again, you're usually building items, like, let's go build a BF sword, and we have enough for some boots. That's really not going to be an issue, right? You don't stay at that number forever. So that is a change that most AD carries got. The numbers vary and are a little bit different from champ to champion, but that's the general of what got changed across all of them. And since Jinx wasn't one of the main 6 that were majorly changed, the only real change they did was kind of what they're calling, I guess, identity-defying changes that they want. With Jinx, they looked at what it means to get excited, so that's why her changes are more about her passive. They increased the speed, they increased the, they have enough speed to duel Wukong. You don't actually have enough speed to duel him like this. There we got excited again, we have more attack speed. Now here's the thing about the stacking attack speed. Now, even with, as far as I can tell, when you are excited, Fishbones will gain the attack speed as well, but it will be 15 less, I believe, than whatever Pow Pow will have, the minigun, right? But the stacking attack speed isn't like a permanent growth that just stays on. Like, you don't get excited, gain 15% attack speed permanently for the rest of the game. That would be a little bit ridiculous. But then again, this patch is kind of ridiculous at the moment, so I wouldn't actually be too terribly surprised. So we're excited again. We switch to Fishbones. He loses 15% of the attack speed. So I have this page, and I can duel like Wukong, but you're not actually supposed to be able to do that. You want to, you're supposed to be at a disadvantage. Is the idea, actually. Let's see if I can do this without heal. He's not retreating back to the thing like I thought he would. I thought he was gonna get there sooner. I guess not. I can kill him though. But I wanted to clarify that because the stacking attack speed does go for both weapons, even though Fishbones shoots slower now. Now there's other stuff I could take the time to talk about this preseason. Oh heck. The bots actually gank. The bots learned how to gank. That's pretty cool. Bye-bye. Just kidding. I actually kind of want this fight. Let's see if I can get excited again. Because it is pretty fun. It is a pretty fun mechanic they decided to throw in, because what it allows you to do actually is it does actually allow you to it does allow you to get going. I thought I already had that up. I guess not. No, darn it. Common mistake that I do always. Anyway, I lost my focus, and now that I'm refocused, let's get back to what I was saying. And what I was saying was, it is a pretty fun mechanic though. Like, if you ever are in a team fight and you do get going, your attack speed is pretty ridiculous, and it works on towers and structures still as well. So when you're in the final, like, team fight in the enemy base and you're wrecking stuff, even Fishbones with the 15% less attack speed, you're still pumping out rockets so fast. It's like a stream of rockets if you really get to that point. I have had that happen before, and it was really cool actually. So I'm not exactly against the nerf, because it technically is a nerf nonetheless, but it's not really that bad. They could have hit her a lot worse considering how much people complain about her on threads and stuff, and they didn't. And it's also because I'm also playing with it. I just keep emphasizing the page because she actually doesn't shoot this fast. I have played her without the page on, and it is actually pretty slow. So that's part of it too. She's late game, so they want to keep also pushing that whole she's not supposed to be strong until late game kind of thing. So it's supposed to be harder for her to duel people, for example. She's a hyper carry. She's not supposed to be able to be fast and out duel people and stuff. So I mean, that's the idea. Let's see if I can get both though. Yes, I can. I'm gonna get one of y'all, and then I'm gonna chase the other of you down. That's what's gonna happen here. Darn, the wither's gonna last so long. I can't get. Okay, that was a little bit frustrating. Especially since I clicked Wukong to begin with. I should have been auto-attacking him anyway, but whatever.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
So that's part of the idea, because remember at 5-8 they nerfed the point blank range damage of the super mega death rocket, so if you're getting ganked by a jungler who didn't take the time to heal all the way back up, they won't get punished though for you suddenly chunking them down with execute damage. Even though I feel like if you're diving someone under tower, that's kind of should have been added punishment, but to each their own. It wasn't like it was bad, but it was considered a nerf as well, because at point blank range you could actually kind of grave somebody. What's the term, remember? And 5, oh there we go. Increased attack speed. They also increased the sound, by the way, of the whooshing and like that. I don't know how. I've never known how to actually say what the sound is, but the sound when you get excited, it's also increased to 6 seconds from the 4 seconds it was. I'm gonna take the tower too. I'm trying to get a bunch of people to enemy bots to group up here, so I can show you what that might look like when we get rolling. But they don't look like they really want to fight me. That's fine. Anyway, 5-10, they nerfed the attack speed on the minigun. It still does actually level up with rank, but it's a lot less at each level. But in return, Jinx also has attack speed that stacks as you level up all 18 levels. So it... Oh, sorry. I've been fighting something off here. So you actually gain extra attack speed in the later levels than the earlier levels, pushing that identity thing again, right? Late game carry. She is supposed to be a monster in the late game and kill everyone, destroy everything. That's the idea. The problem is it's supposed to come only in the late game. It was coming in the mid game, so that's why that was happened. And so now in 522, they're doing more. It's really more balanced changes than nerfs, I would say, on the sense that. Let's see if we can kill him and just go get. Now my attack speed is ridiculous, see? See? It was for a brief second, but we saw it for a brief second what it kind of will look like if we get this rolling. And of course you're going to still build things like attack speed items. I kind of like rapid fire cannon at the moment. I know Phantom Dancer was re-enabled, but I haven't tried building it yet. Just because I like the range for sieging with the rapid fire cannon, so, you know, it's what and what, I guess. Oh, heck. What was I say? So I like the sieging from the rapid fire cannon, but no, we gotta run Soraka. Or no, this might be the group fight I was looking for, actually. Or not. They're also tanky. Why didn't I pick like the squishiest of champions to play against so that I could show you guys this? I don't know. I feel stupid. Anyway, they're still trying to push the whole identity things going forward. Not just with Jinx, but like with every champion. So I imagine they mentioned they might look at doing assassins or supports next. Those guys might get some like overhaul changes. And maybe future nerfs and buffs will also be based on this whole identity aspect. I'm not sure, to be honest. But it is, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say it's a little bit interesting. Like, they could have hit Jinx a lot worse. I'm happy they didn't, of course. But, that's the idea that they're playing in. They're like, if during the regular season, the, you know, whole joke with it, Riot in particular, was diversity, now it's changed to identity. They want each champion to feel unique in a way that you pick them because you wanted to play them versus you pick them because they're not nerfed or the strongest right now. Kind of like when Vayne rose into being played everywhere in the pros, for example, is because every other tank killing AD carry pretty much got nerfed or just weren't good to begin with. Like, people played Kog'Maw, but Kog'Maw was kind of immobile and his passive was only good if you died, you know, so, but he was still played, for example. But Tristana was reworked, so they didn't really like, I guess, Tristana. Reworked equals bad or whatever. Caitlyn just never saw the light of day. Twitch was considered bad. And there was Jinx, but Jinx got nerfed not once but twice across 3 patches. So then Vayne was all that was left. And they don't want stuff like that. They want it to be, you know, you pick Jinx, you pick Vayne, you pick whomever because you want. So even with Fishbones, attack speed is going to be there. So I'm not going to be able to get in there until we can wreck the base and start like kicking their faces in a little bit here. But there we go. There we go. We might be able to have a fight here. Oh, we want to keep going. Keep going. Get hyped. Actually, inhibitors will do this thing, so. See, like that right there. You see how many rockets are pumping out right now? Okay, that was not a good idea. Okay, we overstayed our welcome. We're gonna run now. I ran out of mana. I can't fight that fight. Soraka's here, though. That might be able to help. Jeez, that was not a good idea. Thank you, Soraka. Soraka's pretty cool. I keep repeating what I'm saying, unfortunately. I keep running out of mana, too, so I don't usually buy Essence Reaver, but I'm going to buy it if this game drags out longer than I intend for it, because I don't want that to keep happening. From downtown, here we go. I'm not even looking. I hope that hits, though. But here's the thing, Super Mega Death Rocket 5.8 nerf, it still does max range damage. Max range damage was never touched, so you can still snipe people across the field. You can still do most everything. Like, no champion got nerfed, I would say, in the AD carries super hard. So maybe Kog'Maw. I'm kind of iffy on Kog'Maw. I do like the attack speed steroid he has now, but it seems like he's so immobile and so weak he can never get to that point. I don't know. Why would you stay there? I want to get more though. I need to let them respawn and then fight them later. So what I'm gonna do actually is this instead. Yeah, Cleanse is also pretty nice in AD carries. I like Cleanse actually in this meta right now. See how many rockets I'm pumping out right now? And it's just gonna keep stacking. And we're just gonna win the game right now actually. I'm just gonna end it, and then I'll just talk a little bit more after. I couldn't keep enough mana to pump out rockets, unfortunately. But as you saw brief moments where the rockets were just flying out, right? Like, that's the thing they're shooting for with Jinx in particular, is they want you to be able to do stuff like that. Now, obviously, this is a bot game. In a real game, it's going to be harder to get to that point. And obviously, without the attack speed rune page, you're not going to actually shoot that fast. But you are going to be able to shoot like ridiculously fast because the thing is just going to keep stacking 15% total attack speed as long as you're excited. And I think the highest I hit there was like 5 stacks. So 5 stacks of 15, that's an extra 75% attack speed. And that'll just keep going on for like ever. Sorry. So as usual, if they like, you know, as the preseason goes on, the preseason is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. I actually don't really like the preseason. As an AD carry main, you would think it's an AD carry patch. Why don't you like it? It's just so ridiculous. There's just so many things that are just. It's annoying me. Let's just put it that way. They made towers are getting weaker. Minion waves are gonna start changing. It just feels too snowbally, and I just don't like it. Especially because my favorite champion, the one I play, is a late game champion. It just feels like the late game never is a thing. So we either lose the game because we can never make it to the late game, or we win the game but I still probably didn't do well because I didn't get but like an item and a half or something, and then maybe boots. But that's a video I could always do for another time. For this particular video, to stick on point though, is just it's an identity thing, and we'll stick with Jinx in specific. Just 5-8 real quick. They nerf the point blank range to make it easier to counter her and gank her, because you want to stop that snowball before it gets rolling. Then you have to be able to shut her down in lane, right, when she's at her weakest. Not that her lane is bad, but obviously she has no items. She doesn't have crit built into her kit, so she has none of that stuff, right? So that's when you want to try and keep her shut down. And if you do it right, or if you just, you know, pick Nautilus, you make her go 3-12, and she's trying to second build item a Bloodthirster just to survive, and then still dies. Now, in contrast, as in, if you're playing as Jinx, nothing really changed because you're supposed to use the Super Mega Death Rocket at a long range anyway, and that damage never got changed. It was only the point blank damage that got nerfed, because even if they're missing health, execute damage was still there. So that sometimes helped junglers get killed trying to gank you, even under tower, especially under tower. If you got hit by the flame chompers, you know, you might be dead trying to do a gank where all you're trying to do is keep the snowball from rolling, right? So furthermore, in 5.10, she was melting towers a bit too fast, I guess was the thing, so they hit the minigun so that she couldn't. Which is ironic, because I feel towers are so weak now, anybody can melt them. Late game, mid game, early game, regardless, they just go down so fast and can't defend you worth nothing, so, you know, to each their own on that one, but okay. That was the idea there, push her identity as a late game carry. Yes, late game monster still, so it's actually a level 16, 17, 18 buff, but it's levels like 1 through 15 nerf. And now that the thing is, specifically, like, what does Jinx do that no one else does? It's get excited, use the passive, run around, kill more people, because she's hyper, right? So that's the idea there, is that they want to push that. And going forward with her, if she gets any more buffs, nerfs, or whatever in the future, I imagine that because they're doing this identity thing, that's going to be centered around those changes, unless for some reason like an AP item comes out that just synergizes really well with the flame chompers, and they're like, okay, we need to hit the flame chompers AP ratios or something, but I don't really see that happening. I mean, they already took, for example, they're starting to take some damage off of snares, so I wouldn't be too surprised if in the future maybe they took the damage off the flame chompers. But I don't actually see that happening either. Not anytime soon. In terms of 5.22 though, the idea is kind of what you saw in some of these fights. You do, if you can get that first kill, you can get excited, you snowball and you pretty much take over the team fight because you're a resetting champion. That's what you're supposed to do when you have resets, right? It shouldn't be too terribly hard. So they increase the speed you run at as well, because Jinx is also one of the slowest champions in the game. That's one of her built-in weaknesses, is that she's immobile, which is slower than even other AD carries, and that's usually generally the slowest position in the game. Because either they don't build Moby boots, or for whatever reason, you know, mid laners and tanks just move faster. So it makes the chase down potential easier. They made the rocket shoot slower because I putting in, it's not a reason they actually said, I'm just saying because people complained about the, you know, crit rockets and stuff, so they're like, okay, well then if we make the crit rockets, you know, be able to come out slower, maybe people will have more time to get away or something. I don't know exactly. I think it's more about, out of her two weapons, the minigun's supposed to be like the fast weapon, right? So the minigun's going to shoot faster, the rocket launcher's going to shoot slower. The rocket launcher does more in terms of AoE and, you know, has the 10% extra damage. So if those things fly out less, though, that's the counter trade, right, for being so powerful. But as you saw, even if as long as you're getting stacks, you're still going to be pumping those out pretty fast. But the minigun, they didn't like revert the 510 nerf either though. But it does stack with the passive pretty well, especially if you are dueling for some reason. Then it's pretty great. You're going to melt towers. You're supposed to really use the minigun to melt towers anyway, because it shoots faster to begin with. But with now things like rapid fire cannon and the sieging potential, you can now use the rocket launcher, and it's safer, or at least easier. So those are the reasonings behind the changes and what the changes are. Going forward, as in 5.23 comes out tomorrow, so far in the PvE, doesn't look like there's anything heading Jinx's way in terms of getting hit. But if they do some changes before the preseason's over, especially, or just period, I will make another video like I usually do about trying to explain them from my understanding. Like, I'm not necessarily 100% right or anything like this. There might be things I'm missing, there might be points that don't make sense or something like that. And there's still things I'm kind of figuring out about how these new changes work for her. But I'm also having trouble playing a lot because I really just don't like this patch. So I still like playing Jinx, I just don't like playing on this patch right now. So I haven't had the best of times to really study them in like different situations. But that's what it generally looks like if you do well. That's what it's supposed to look like if you do well. And remember, I use a attack speed rune page. She actually shoots far slower on both weapons than what I was shooting in this game. Just keep that in mind. Of course, you could just go and build the rune page yourself. Obviously, it's not like the most beneficial page because you don't have all the extra like damage runes and defensive runes and stuff like that. But I like it. See, in my mind, my idea is I won't need defensive runes if I just make sure to not get caught. And that's not like cockiness or something. That's like if the game goes well, hopefully I'm not dying a lot. You know what I mean? So that's the idea there. Sorry again. So anyway, I'm going to end the video here because there's nothing really else to mention about these changes. And again though, if something else changes, I'll just make another video. We're in like the 80 carry meta, I guess they're calling it. That's an interesting choice of words. I have beef with the preseason, to be honest, but that's again a video for another time, and that's really would just be me ranting, and that's not entertaining to nobody, so I'm probably just going to leave all that stuff out. I'm pretty sure, I mean, it is preseason after all. I guess that's one of the things I would emphasize. It's supposed to be ridiculous like this. You know, last year was the jungle change, this year I guess it's this. It will get better probably by the time the season starts, because they'll have patches to change some stuff. So it's ridiculous now, but it'll get better later. So I'm not having fun playing on this patch, but the fun will probably come back as the patches go on, at least. So with that being said, that's where I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching if you did watch. Hopefully something was cleared up that might have been confusing. If not, feel free to leave, you know, a comment, ask extra questions that I might be able to answer afterwards. There's also, I guess, my Twitter. You could hit me up there. I'll leave it in the description. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I might have forgotten, and I don't think there is. So hopefully you have a good day.